Coming up, skateboards get a new platform on a postage stamp, restoring bison to tribal nations for healing and economic development. We meet the leader of Alabama's only federally recognized tribe, and it's time for Denver March. I'm Aaliyah Chavez. Join us for those interviews plus headlines from the ICT Newscast.
This program is made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, a private corporation funded by the American people.
Arizona State University welcomes 3,500 Indigenous students from Arizona and across the nation. It serves one of the largest populations of Indigenous students among U.S. colleges and universities. We created a sense of place for tribal nations to create futures of their own making through community outreach and research, taught by world-class Indigenous faculty where they see a reflection of themselves and their experiences. Find community at ASU.
This is the ICT Newscast with Aaliyah Chavez.
Amirawa Hopa, thank you for joining us. We start in San Antonio, Texas, where a high school senior's bold stand could end up changing a Texas law. Last year, administrators told Kayla Price to remove an eagle feather from her graduation cap. She refused. Then last week, a bill landed in the legislature that would ensure no Texas student has to go through that again. Our Stuart Huntington has more.
Kayla Price was excited to graduate last May from San Antonio's Young Women's Leadership Academy.
Walking across the stage, I feel like is like one of those things that students cherish.
A citizen of the Fort Peck tribes, she pinned an eagle feather to her cap. What came next was a shock.
That day, I came ready with my cap and everything, and they had told me that I couldn't have the eagle feather on it. And I was explaining, like, I'm Indigenous. So a lot of the things concerning my graduation, I want to show some bits that show my culture, just as any other student would. They were telling me that pretty much if I didn't take it off, I couldn't walk across the stage with other students.
Administrators eventually gave in, but Price felt more needed to be done.
I have a sister who's also going to YWLA still, and so we didn't want another incident in which she might have to go through what I went through for graduation, as well as any other Indigenous student in Texas.
A pair of state lawmakers agreed and introduced a bill to ensure natives can wear regalia at graduations. The move is part of a trend among states passing laws on the basis of this issue, a welcome development, and yet proof that work remains.
I would call it sad and really just unbelievable that in this day and age that, something so important to our communities and our culture and our people is really just given short shrift and not permitted to be worn at such an important event for our students. The feather in many ways is as important or more important than the diploma, and being able to have a feather gifted during that time of honoring and recognition is really important for our communities.
In Minneapolis, Minnesota, Stuart Huntington, ICT News.
The Texas Regalia Bill, which is called HB 4066, has been referred to the House State Affairs Committee, where it awaits a hearing date. There's a new sound today in the tiny native community of Kenwood, Oklahoma, and that's ringing cell phones. The Cherokee Nation helped install a brand new cell tower that promises to revolutionize communications in the hamlet. Community members and dignitaries were on hand Thursday to dedicate the new tower. The tribe partnered with AT&T and used part of a $34 million federal broadband grant on the project. It is all part of the nation's effort to bring 21st century connectivity to Cherokee communities.
We've got to do better as a country to connect Indian country to the rest of the world, because it means streams of commerce, it means opportunities in education, it means opportunities for things like telemedicine that people are going to rely on more and more. And so this is progress, but I think it shows that we've got a great deal of work to do across the country.
The Portland Art Museum is under scrutiny after an employee told a Karuk mother she could not wear her traditional baby carrier. Underscore's Jarrett Work spoke with the mother involved, Sophie Weinstein, about her family's first visit to the museum. She said museum staff greeted her by telling her backpacks were not allowed. Weinstein's cousin promptly pointed out it was not a backpack, but a traditional baby carrier. The carrier is a willow basket Weinstein envisioned while pregnant and spent months to complete it leading up to the birth of her son. When she questioned the policy and pointed out how harmful it was to Native people, she was told to, quote, cool down and take a deep breath. Weinstein posted this encounter to Facebook, where she was met with support from her community who called out the museum's actions. The museum has since apologized and changed their policy, which Weinstein says she appreciates. She said the incident brings attention to the need for understanding of Indigenous traditions, especially in spaces housing cultural artifacts. An Indigenous Language Council in Alaska is looking to state lawmakers for help with a name change. The council, which safeguards Alaska's Indigenous languages, would like to change to a name that reflects broader goals than just preservation. Under a pending bill in the state legislature, the Alaska Native Language Preservation and Advisory Council would instead be named the Alaska Native Language Council. During a hearing this week, the bill's sponsor, Representative Andy Story, said the proposed name better reflects the broad and vital work the council does. The bill will go through another committee meeting before it can be finalized. And those are the headlines for the ICT Newscast. The Art of the Skateboard is the new stamp collection from the U.S. Postal Service. 2 of the 4 stamps were created by Indigenous artists. Dior Greenwood uses Navajo culture to bring her stamp to life. Take a look.
When creating this design, I wanted to fall back on the consistencies in my life. And a lot of those consistencies were when I woke up to pray to the morning star, or when I had a very rough day and the day was closing out, I always seen the evening star. So that central design in the center definitely is something that has always been consistent in my life, and that is the morning star and the evening star, as well as every sunset and every sunrise. So I wanted to do something that, you know, everyone as a human can relate to, that we see every day, and put it into, you know, something like a stamp design. But also the 2 eagle feathers on the skateboard are extremely important to me as a Dene woman. I use the eagle feathers today to pray and to send my prayers, you know, everything across the board. But also in the same aspect, you know, the eagle logo carrier for the U.S. Postal Service is also very important. So I wanted to do something that like combined, you know, that community, but also like the respects of like the importance of a stamp. And yeah, so I came across this design purely by drawing something out and allowing it to take form as I continued to design it. And it completely changed from my first idea of what I wanted it to be, and it's its own life form. And I'm happy that, you know, it's real and it's here and it's on a stamp, and the kids in my community and the elderly in my community actually get to be a part of it and, you know, claim it as our own.
You're actually a skateboarder yourself. How did that give you a unique perspective to make this stamp?
Yeah, so I'm a skateboarder, but also a skateboard maker. So the board featured on the stamp is a board that I had handmade, hand pressed, hand cut, shaped, and then designed. So I definitely wanted it to, you know, pay respects to skateboarders all around and even skateboard makers, because, you know, a lot of people only see the finished product of a skateboard. So when asked to do this stamp, I reached out to the people close to me, and they allowed me to come by. Propel Skateboards for Kids allowed me to come in, use their skateboard press, make the skateboard from scratch. And, you know, I just felt like it had to be an all-around story and all-around narrative. So yeah, it was important that I made the skateboard. It was important that I did a design that, represented my community, but also a design that skateboarders will, respect and be appreciative of.
Dior, I'm curious, the skateboards behind you, did you make those?
So those skateboards are, yes, so the 3 decorated ones behind me are handmade, and then the 2 ones off to the side, those are just redesigns.
You started talking about this a little bit earlier, but I'd love to dive deeper into the significance of Americans buying your stamp and the representation that it brings.
Yeah, when reached out, my great grandmother was still alive at the moment when I first got the first contact about this entire project, and I was so thrilled. On my very next trip back to my homeland, I shared with her, the opportunity I will have, and she was so proud of me because, my great grandmother entrusted every important message and everything she's ever needed to get to somebody with a stamp. So to her, a stamp is, equivalent to like a brand new phone to a teenager. That's what they trust, but this is what my great grandmother trusted. And, it's such a small thing on a stamp, but it was so vitally important to her and to many other people in my community who don't have the cell data and communications. And we still use stamps today to send, important documents, pay our bills, and everything across the board. So yeah, this is a project I instantly knew was a lot more meaningful and a lot bigger than myself.
That was skateboard artist Dior Greenwood. For 30 years, the InterTribal Buffalo Council has worked to restore bison herds to tribes across the country. The council believes that reintroducing buffalo can help heal the lives, spirit, and economies of Native nations. Troy Heinert is its executive director and a former South Dakota state senator. I interviewed him earlier this month.
We started 30 years ago in the sacred Haisapa here in the Black Hills. Started with 9 tribes. And today we are up to 80 tribes in 20 states. And collectively, those tribes manage over 20,000 buffalo.
I understand that you work to restore herds to tribal lands. What is the last place that you actually introduced a new herd?
So the Menominee tribe in Wisconsin received buffalo for the first time last year.
Tell us about that effort.
It was a long time coming. They were, I think, a little nervous. They hadn't had access to buffalo for decades. And so we kind of walked them through the process, and they put in all the work, got their fencing ready, got their pastures ready. We run a surplus program. So last fall, we moved over 2,200 buffalo in about 2 months. And Menominee received some buffalo. They had a large ceremony a ceremony to welcome those buffalo back home. And it's been really impactful for that tribe.
I understand that you've been doing this work for 30 years. So maybe talk about what the advantages are for tribal nations to get their buffalo back.
Our goal and mission is to restore buffalo for that cultural and spiritual connection. And when that happens, and you hear the songs and see the ceremonies that come out that have been dormant, not forgotten, but just dormant, and it just reinvigorates the people. We know that buffalo help heal their land, so we work with them to make sure they have adequate space. And a plan for what they want to use their buffalo for. Some tribes are purely on conservation efforts, while some tribes, want to just be able to feed their people. And some tribes, like here in the Northern Plains, who've had buffalo for years, actually are in the commerce of buffalo, or they're able to sell buffalo meat to, restaurants or private individuals. So we just try to help tribes best we can with whatever direction they're going.
This is a farm bill this year, and you've been working with the Native Farm Bill Coalition. What are you hoping to see included in the next bill?
Right. So, the last farm bill, prior to the last farm bill, there were no tribal specific regulations when it came to the farm bill. And 5 years ago, they were able to get 68 provisions for tribes or tribal producers. This year, we want to see some things expanded in the Farm Bill, more 638 authority across tribes, being able to 638, their FDIPR or SNAP programs, so that those products, those locally grown products, can be put into those programs. We'd also like to see a tribal meat inspection program started at the USDA. That's something that we don't have when you think about reservations and our lack of processing, especially when it comes to buffalo. We need to create our own programs so that we remove that bottleneck for processing animals.
What do you think are the biggest impediments to this kind of work and trying to restore these kinds of herds? What kinds of issues do you have to face?
I think that there's some misconception that we're in competition with cattle producers. That is the furthest thing from our mind. We're just trying to help reestablish that spiritual and cultural connection. And when we do that and reintroduce buffalo into our diets, we're going to start to see the health benefits of it. And it is just creates that atmosphere or that ability to reconnect with our ancestors who came before, that the buffalo provided everything for them. So I think it has so many more benefits than it has detractions. But it's an education process, and then we also need our federal partners to help us in that. We run a herd development grant program, so we give money directly to tribes to help their programs to be successful. So we need federal partners and tribes to be able to work through us and get buffalo back onto their landscapes.
How do youth feel about this kind of work in the communities that you work in?
We have had such an overwhelming response. We started a couple youth programs last year. We had a spot for 2 interns in Yellowstone National Park, and we had so many applicants. We switched it to 4 spots, 2 11-week programs. We had 84 tribal youth applicants for those 4 spots. And honestly, I would have hired them all. They were just outstanding. We also run a red calf cohort, which helps our high school age kids. They do a camp in the Black Hills for a week, then they go to Yellowstone for a week. It's really important, and we're seeing the youth come out and want to take part in buffalo restoration and acknowledge what happened to the buffalo, acknowledge what happened to our people, and then do something about it. So it's been very exciting.
That was Troy Heinert of the InterTribal Buffalo Council. The Porch Band of Creek Indians is the only federally recognized tribe in the state of Alabama. Stephanie Bryan is its chairwoman and chief executive officer. Let's watch this interview.
We are located in Atmore, Alabama, and I have lived in this community my entire life, and just watching our community and the landscape change for a lot of people and improving the quality of lives for so many people is so humbling, that I have been able to be a part of watching the community grow from poverty to prosperity, but we're still humble people. As the first Americans, and we've faced many challenges, but we've overcome those challenges here in Porch, Alabama, very rural area.
What strikes me about your tribal nation is that you're both the chairwoman and the CEO. And for a lot of tribes, it really is like running a business. You're running a nation. But tell us about how you use both of those roles to make sure that your citizens have everything that they need.
So being the chair and CEO and being the first female chair and CEO for the Porch Band of Creek Indians, of course, breaking through that glass ceiling and just navigating through some tough times for the tribe. I was first elected in 2006 as the vice chair by a flip of a coin. That was my first year even serving. And at that time, the Porch Band of Creek Indians were not well known in the state of Alabama. We conducted a polling, I think, in 2008, and 13% Alabamians knew who the Porch Creek Indians were. and 7% was unfavorable. And then today, for so many people to know about the Porch Band of Creek Indians and to receive an honor as the CEO of the year in the state of Alabama is very humbling for me. Because we started telling our own story. And a lot of times in Indian country, dealing with states, they're not so certain of what sovereignty is. It's about educating those leaders and building a network and letting people know what we contribute. And when I was first elected and as the chair and CEO, I didn't want gaming to be the total face of the tribe. So we began diversifying our portfolio to create other economic development throughout the state and the United States. And so being raised in the Porch community as a little girl, I remember a time when the tribe, we only had 3 employees. And my home place, you can throw a rock to our powwow grounds. So the culture and who we are as Creek Indians is instilled in me. But to grow and to build a network and educate people about the Porch Band of Creek Indians in the state of Alabama with the passion that I have and the motivation that I have to improve the quality of lives for so many people, not just our tribal members, but our employees as well. They're part of our Porch Creek family. And so it's had its challenges, but the growth that we have experienced is so humbling, but yet we still will never forget where we come from. So we do not lose sight of where we're going as a sovereign nation. And I've been honored to serve on Secretary Deb Haaland's first ever STAC committee with Department of Interior, as well as building relationships throughout the state. When I was first elected as the chair and CEO in 2014, that was a goal for me, is to build relationships. Life is about relationships and networking and getting to know people. And when they see the passion and the drive that I have to improve the quality of life for so many, people truly respect who we are here as the only federally recognized tribe in the state of Alabama. I graduated with Jody Singer, who is one of the top people within NASA. So we graduated Leadership Alabama together. And now we have the contract for $217 million to handle their production. So that's what life and relationships can do, but it does require a lot of sacrifices as the chair and CEO to navigate, especially the past 3 years, navigating through those turbulent times, as well as growing our 8A contracting services, even through the pandemic. We grew our federal contracting services, which is our holding company is ICT, which is mother. It means mother in the Creek language. So that is our mother holding company for our federal services and contracting group.
That was Stephanie Bryan, chairwoman and CEO of the Porch Creek Band. Denver March Powwow marks the unofficial start of powwow season. ICT's Stuart Huntington was there.
You know where I'm at right now? I'm at the best powwow in the country, okay? I'm so excited. I don't know what to do with myself.
The 47th running of the Denver March Powwow filled up the city's Coliseum over the weekend, marking a rebound from years in the shadow of COVID.
I guess gratifying to see all of the people come back. I know that we have lost a lot of loved ones and different people during the pandemic, and it was a very difficult situation to get through. But Indian people are very resilient, and we've survived a lot of other things in life, and I think this is just expressing our joy and gratitude for gathering together again to showcase what Indian country is about.
The event boasted nearly 200 vendors, including Native American flute maker Lavore Thomas from Navajo country. The 37 drum groups set the pace for more than 1,000 dancers.
Why I like it is because I get to express myself, and it's something that I'm close to, and I feel a connection like with my ancestors, just doing it for a very long time.
Denver March is one of the kickoff powwows for all of Indian country, and it's just a big honor to be here. And there's so many emotions that go into it.
One of which was excitement.
I'm here at the best powwow, and it's the best powwow because we have more drums, we have more dancers than any other ones than in the entire country. The vendors out here are fantastic. The food, you can smell it in the air right now. People are excited. People are making money. This is a post-COVID powwow. We got fry bread back. Isn't that exciting? We got fry bread back. Hey, thank goodness. I know.
And with the fry bread, an underlying message.
Oh, that we're still alive. We're still here. It means a whole lot to us that we've survived a huge and a pandemic that was very devastating, but now we're back. We've always been here. We'll be here.
We are the original inhabitants of this land. And, that speaks for itself. Everybody else is just tourists coming in.
In Denver, Colorado, Stuart Huntington, ICT News.
And that's a slice of our Indigenous world. For all the latest, visit ictnews.org. From all of us in the newsroom, stay safe, my relatives.
This program is made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, a private corporation funded by the American people.